It's so easy to judge others and judge ourselves and not just kind of allow someone the dignity of their process, and however they're going to figure it out might be different from how you figure it out.
This week on Between You and Me, I sit down with actor Rumer Willis, who got her start on the big screen starring alongside her famous parents, Demi and Bruce Willis, in films like Striptease and Hostage. Now she's making a name for herself as a triple threat: singing, dancing, and acting, most recently in Quentin Tarantino's new film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
And I think people just imagine, because you're like of Hollywood royalty, that you grew up in Hollywood, but you were in Idaho, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, how was that juxtaposition moving from Idaho until, you were 15 to then move to Hollywood?
It was really crazy, especially because I did it like right at the peak of my like awkward phase of trying to like figure out who I was. I still had a bunch of baby fat. I had this like massive fro that I did not know what to do with. And it was right also when social media and the blogging was really starting. And a lot of it was kind of that really mean, hyper vigilant, like Perez Hilton types, where it was just so attacking.
But did you get attacked? I mean, like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
What were they attacking you about?
I had a potato head. My face, they said I had a huge jaw. They said like it was a butter face, which is like everything is good but her face.
That's
like crazy
horrific.
shit. And when you're 14, 15, like I didn't really understand having value in myself yet. So for me, at least, it became, okay, if I'm desired by a man, then I have value. Not just I have value because I exist or because of all of the other things that women were bringing to the table. And so much for me became wrapped up in like, okay, my value set is based on what other people think of me and had nothing to do with what I thought about myself.
Who could you turn to when magazines were writing these horrible things about you? I mean,
Yeah.
Could you turn to your parents?
I mean, I definitely talked to my mom, and her thing was always, you can't read the comments. You could post the most beautiful like picture about how you've like gone and you're helping kids or like you're giving your time, and someone will still find a way to rag on you.
Did you ever go back to any of the bullies?
I mean, I remember seeing Perez once at a thing, and he was like, I hope you know it's like all just like a joke or something. And that's kind of when he was still doing it. And I guess so much of it is so anonymous. I can't track down like Banana Girl like 557 and like go and say, hey, that really hurt me. But I think just by leading by example and showing that there's another way to deal with your insecurity, because I think so much of the bullying comes from just being insecure inside of ourselves.
It feels like you have a very unique relationship with your mum, because your kind of career kicked off, you were 7 years old?
Yeah.
And you were starred with her?
It was so cool to watch, and it's so funny to just see yourself so tiny. But I remember being on that set. It was like heaven for me. All I wanted to do was talk to the older girls and just, feel like I was in it. It was so fun.
Do you feel that you were kind of protected because you had your mum, particularly when most sets are overwhelmingly male and directors tend to be male and things like that?
I mean, I think it's like one of those interesting things that I feel like until a conversation was really brought up about it, it's like there's an awareness that we as women have, but then until it's called to light. I mean, in my 20s and when I was younger working on sets, it didn't even occur to me, because that's just this kind of presumption that there's like women are somehow below men everywhere.
Do you feel like sort of, Me Too is the umbrella catch-all, but do you feel like things are starting to change?
I think honestly, just even that there's a conversation and an awareness is affecting change. Just because I think now people are going, oh, you know what? Actually, that didn't feel okay for me.
I think we've all had similar kind of experiences where we think that wasn't appropriate and I couldn't say anything, or I felt like I couldn't say anything, or I didn't say anything.
I was doing a play last year and I witnessed some like inappropriate behavior, and even just like conversations that were not appropriate to be having. It just didn't even process for me as something to go, you know what, actually, I should have like gone to someone and said, hey, this is not okay.
In those little moments, you are challenging, decades of ingrained learned behavior.
Yeah. This dynamic and this kind of weird hierarchy with men, I think, bleeds into work. It's like when my mom was like the highest paid actress, she suddenly was difficult and was high maintenance or a diva. And then if the same thing happened to my dad or anyone else, then they're lauded and told how amazing they are. And everyone is like, wow, that's incredible. They're so talented. And I think that's what causes this weird dynamic where I'm watching someone say having inappropriate conversations with me and with my friend, and it doesn't occur to me because I don't want to also then be a tattletale.
Or a diva.
Exactly. Like, I don't want to be difficult. I don't want to cause problems and be viewed as like, oh, he's just saying that, it's fine. It's like, as women, why do we expect to be heard? Why do we expect to be believed? There's this blanket, basically, thing that's saying you have to have so much evidence and so much proof for us to believe you, and even then, who knows?
Hi guys, good morning. I just wanted to see how all of you guys were doing.
Do you view Instagram and social media as a kind of way of being able to redraw some of those lines, I guess?
I think about everything that we've talked about, that all kind of the roots of it are all at self-value, whether it ends up being Me Too in your work, being able to stand up, dating, all of that. It so stems from, okay, do I walk into a room and feel like I have something to bring to the table, and am I, like standing in my own value, or am I waiting for this man to validate me, this job, how many likes I get? And I think if I can help in any way to kind of bring a focus on just taking whatever steps, whatever works for you. You can work with a therapist, you can go to church. I have no judgment, whatever your avenue of kind of finding that in yourself, but just to encourage that, especially in young women.
What is your way of doing that? That's sort of like checking it, making sure if you feel that you're veering in, a direction that like, okay, wait, this is going to get me down a destructive hole, like, or a destructive place. Like,
They do.
What do you do to kind of keep yourself on the straight and narrow almost?
One of them is, so I'm like way hypercritical of myself, and I'm like more critical, I think, than anyone could be. And so,
welcome to being a woman, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So one of the things I do is I put a photo of myself when I'm little. And so if I ever am like watching myself talk negatively, I'm like, would you ever talk to a kid like that? Would you ever speak to a child the way you're talking to yourself? I think of it, and go with me here, it's a little woo-woo, but like, you have like the little version of you. I have the little version of me. And that's the person that like is in situations gets really hurt and emotionally reactive. And so if you can like talk to them or make them feel better and let them know that they're okay. If I'm ever like judging myself, I just say like, I forgive myself for judging myself for being lazy, or all whatever like negative words come. So
like forgiveness.
Yes. So much about like, if you can do more compassionate self-forgiveness, I think it's like really helped me be able to just let go. It's so easy to judge others and judge ourselves and not just kind of allow someone the dignity of their process, and however they're going to figure it out might be different from how you figure it out, and that we're all just doing the best that we can with the tools that we have.
Thank you for watching Between You and Me. There are plenty more episodes, so you can click here and subscribe to watch more.